What I wanted to do is to share regulatory and business environment in Japan as my contribution to this workshop.
Okay.
So listen in and pause if you have any questions along the way.
Okay.
You know, Mt. Gox happened in Japan, right? Back in 2013-14. So today, Bitcoin in Japan is currency like property, and it has a proper legal status. And we took 2 years to get this GST exemption.
Okay.
So because Mt. Gox happened, normally our government doesn't do things first in the world, but because of this massive media coverage and so on, our government had to react to it. That's why we ended up giving Bitcoin the legal status for the first time in the world.
Okay.
So, and as a result of that, we now have 18 licensed exchanges and 15 owned by publicly listed financial institutions now, or large internet companies. So there are no more crypto kitties. Kitties has been wiped out.
Got it.
And they are owned by those large companies. Therefore, they have bank level compliant right now. And good thing is all has fiat on-ramp. And Coinbase announced their entry into Japan market, and they have applied for a crypto exchange license in Japan.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you know when that comes? Coinbase in Japan?
They are already there.
They're already there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they are waiting
I
for.
didn't know that.
They are waiting for their license approval.
Okay.
And we now have this self-regulated crypto exchange association, and made up of these 18 existing licensed members, and they all have to comply bank level compliance. And because it's too hard for our FSA to come up with all the the security process and all the details of how the crypto should be managed, so they ended up having this self-regulated body, and they come up with these detailed procedures of those compliance details.
Okay.
And they only trade in, actually this is 9 cryptos: BTC, Ether, and these cryptos only.
These shitcoins. So I don't see BSV there.
Yeah, right. So these ETC, Factom, Namecoins, Monocoin, and Lisk is because of the traditional, the reasons. Those were trading before this regulation kicked in. But BSV is not traded yet. I have helped 2 exchanges to submit the applications.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And one has also submitted, but because of this propaganda, misinformation, disinformation about Dr. Craig Wright and all this BS around BSV, exchange has backed off. Yeah. Because remember, these are owned by publicly listed companies, and they have to explain to shareholders, right? So it's really difficult at this moment. But
understood.
Yeah, and in total, 2.8 million accounts, including. So there are duplicates, people having accounts in multiple exchanges, but then again, those people have accounts in overseas exchanges like Binance or Poloniex or But today, after all this compliance and the KYC requirements that FSA imposed on these exchanges, those shady accounts has been deactivated. And these are honest customer accounts now. So what I'm trying to say is that although this whole industry is on the wrong chain now, they will have potentially a meltdown of all the cryptos sometime next year, right? But as far as the industry and holders are concerned, people have been learning because Mt. Gox happened in Japan, and people learn, why Bitcoin price go up, what's wrong with government money, and what's this private key, and all these things.
Yeah.
We learn. People in Japan like learning, so their literacy is pretty high.
Yeah.
And what I see happening next year is that because these exchanges are very competitive, they need to differentiate from others. So they would love to work with a cool app projects like like Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah, I foresee this coming next year.
Yes.
And have you heard of FATF?
No, I haven't.
This is the government body and made up of the Ministry of member countries. Yeah. It's now 38 countries, and they set standards for legal operational measures to fight. And G7, G20s are pushing, and they come up in June. They come up with the recommendation to all the member country to have a proper legal framework. That is to record these 5 points in the database. Whenever exchanges send more than $1,000 worth of crypto, they have to keep these records.
And that's coming in.
Correct. These guys look pretty serious, right? They say policy making body and combating money laundering and terrorists and all this usual stuff.
Yes.
Right. They issue guidance. So they call it virtual asset and virtual asset service providers. Okay. Yeah. And your Secretary Munchin, the Treasury Secretary, he's very serious. And he is pushing it for the member countries. Right. And what actually is this is the actual recommendation, and they say required information includes originator's name, account number, physical address. It's like SWIFT. But it says it's not necessary for the information to be attached directly to the transfer itself. And the information can be submitted either directly or indirectly as set forth. This means for Bitcoin SV, we can put this data on chain.
Yes.
On chain
Yes.
in operator, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But for other cryptos, they can't.
Yes, correct.
But what it means is BSV chain can be used as a database to record their transaction.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I did in my previous video is that I put as an example, I put this data in an operator. Okay, cool. Yeah, right? As an example how BSV can be used.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they may not, other cryptos may not crash to zero in one day, but so they may be trading, for a while, but SV can be used as a...
Bitcoin SV is the only cryptocurrency with a plan for regulation.
Correct.
Which is a big advantage from an investment perspective. Correct.
So in June 2020, I don't know, so many things are happening, will be happening in 2020. By June 2020, FATF has a meeting, and they are going to check on the legal status. That's the schedule. So that's it for the regulation. And one final slide is a case study of this YouTuber called Daigo. I think he's most profitable YouTuber, or to be exact, video blogger. Yeah. And his earning is like $8 million US dollars. And what he does is a psychology topics, and what he says is like his topics are like how to handle not so smart boss at work, and how to spot narcissists in SNS.
Some valuable information.
Right. And based on scientific and academic studies.
Yeah, okay.
And he reads like 20 to 30 research papers every day, and he stand all day and surrounded by all his books, and come up with 3 15-minute show free on YouTube a day. Then after that, then he would switch to the paid channel called Nico Video, and this shortly come after YouTube in Japan, and they are kind of focusing on paid subscription-based YouTubers because they cannot compete against YouTube. So he is the number 1 in this channel, and he's got 100,000 subscribers, each paying about $5. So his estimated revenue, he pays about 10% to the platform. So he makes about $500,000 per month. Pretty good, right?
He's doing great.
Yeah, he's on his own, right?
Yeah.
And his dream is to build the largest library in the world. He stands all day because he figured he gets more oxygen when he stands, and he does this exercise while standing, and he gets more oxygen in the brain so that he can think better. So pretty interesting guy, and people are willing to pay for good content. That's what so people are learning. People just don't look at animal photos and all these funny videos for free. There are people willing to pay for good content.
Yes.
So it's all coming, and YouTubers are getting tired of this ad-based revenue. So we are in the right track.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big part of what we're thinking about at Twetch, right? Is how to allow the information that the user creates, and they can monetize that directly.
Right. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you, and with the SV Cambrian, the Cambrian SV teams, and hope it's useful to you.